Yeah, I mean, that's a really impactful and such a powerful question. There's so much to say. We wish, like hindsight is always 2020. We
Yes.
wish we knew back then what we know today. And your parents do take the time to, mentor you and coach you and just give you this idea. I mean, they're amazing people. I love
Thank
Manesh. I
you.
love Kim. They're fantastic. So just, kudos to them.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I was thinking about this question pretty deeply, and it's so hard because there's so much to, look back and reflect. And like I said, I wish you could, just tell yourself everything. I think there's a few takeaways that if I were to, tell my younger self, um, what would I say? I would say, you know what, work really hard, even though you think it's tough. I mean, you live in kind of regret. We try not to regret anything, but one of the things I wish I would have done is when I was in college was pay more attention to school and take the time
Mm.
to really engage in the studies and enjoy that moment without the stresses of thinking what's to come next. And that pivotal information about being able to just live in the moment and understand what's going on in that particular moment and to do your best in that moment and to be completely engaged and to see things through to completion. I think that's so important. I didn't get a chance to finish school, which I still carry that today. I really wish I had an opportunity to. I mean, I got a chance to attend UT, which is one of the greatest schools here in Texas, if not, the nation in terms of higher education. And I look back and I think like, you know what? I really wish I would have finished. I really wish I would have been able to complete it. I really wish somebody would have said, hey, you know what? Stay focused, stay the course. I know you think it's tough. I know you think it's hard, but at the end, there will be great reward for it. And that little bit of advice would have carried on beyond just school and that moment. It just goes to life because a lot of the times we seek comfort. And when we get to tough situations in our lives, we tend to either, want to run away or we tend to avoid them. And if you take that little bit of advice and you take on tough situations and you confront them and you're able to really overcome and look back and think that, you know what, that wasn't that bad. It changes your entire perspective and mindset, not only of that moment, of the problems you may have, of the issues at hand, but just of being able to overcome obstacles at all odds, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I think thinking back and reflecting upon things that maybe did not go so well in the past can really eye open your eyes to things that might occur similarly in the future. You might be like, oh, maybe I have a little bit more nuanced perspective on it. Maybe I can handle it a little bit better. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier. And I think that is really important that, mistakes will be made, things will happen, and you don't want to dwell on them too much, but definitely to try and learn what you can from them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we all come with the sense of values that were either, learned or taught from our parents. And I think for me, it's always been hard work. The work ethic I have sometimes can be really overwhelming because I could be a total workaholic. And
Right.
with our parents having escaped the country of communism and like
Mm-hmm.
leaving certain death and being immigrants here, first generation, that's all they knew was to work. And
Yeah.
that's what we learned. And that's where the business drive comes from. But at the same time, that business drive can be unhealthy if you don't balance it out. And having the ability to go back to being focused in the moment, to balance out what you're doing, to be super engaged and committed and to see things through, I think it's a critical piece of advice that as a younger, like, self talking to myself, that I really try to take to heart today is that, it's never too late to change. You can just, make a choice and with the right mindset, there's a lot of things that can be accomplished. And that part of it, a lot of people don't know that our parents came here from out of the country, first generation, like many, they had to, work against all odds just to make a sense of living to provide for us. And for that, we're definitely grateful. And we try
Mhm.
not to take anything for granted and we carry that work ethic forward. But now that we're going into second generation with our kids and so on, we're really trying to teach them, being how to be balanced, how to have quality of life. Those things are as absolutely as important, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, tying in the immigrants, I totally understand because my mom's side and my dad's side are pretty different. But my dad kind of grew up in that, like, because the really only way for him to leave India was to go to college, get the degree, get the job that everyone had, which was like computer programming, engineering, and he really didn't know any other way. But he came here and then he realized that there were different ways to live it. I'm really glad that he was able to find something that he's passionate about, that he is right now, and he was able to teach them the things because I see my mom's side, all immigrants, all came from China, all had to escape communism, etc. there, and they worked like crazy. They had a family restaurant. I'm sure you kind of maybe remember, and they worked insane hours. And my dad's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And so he's teaching that onto me, and I think that is really important to have that balance because I think now people are starting to slowly understand that you have to have a personal and a work-life balance. It can't just all be work. It just can't all be personal, and you have to understand there are certain things that demand certain things.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. You have so much wisdom for being so young. You said so much in such a very little few sentences. I mean, you talked about just being aware of the level of work, and then also you talked about taking a path and making a choice to take that path with your dad. I mean, it all starts with that. Making a decision on what you want to do to be able to, either forge ahead in life or in school or at work or whatever that might be. And with that choice comes a commitment, but then also, learning from what you don't want to do and where other people have maybe had a sense of struggle and their hardships and being able to really be empathetic to those struggles so that you can yourself either find a better way or a better path or more opportunities by not having to suffer the kind of same work or same struggles that others had. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I really appreciate the compliment. Thank you. But yeah, there are a lot of things because I was actually just talking right before we got on the call with one of my friends, because she's the first, well, I guess first, second, whatever you consider. Her parents came from Dominican Republic, and we were just talking about, the different cultures that we have with our parents being immigrants versus some of our friends who parents were maybe non-immigrants and different struggles that our parents have had that they don't understand. And we're just talking about the differences. We just think that it's really interesting that our lives can be so different, but even if we grow up in the same country, it's our experiences are so unique and what we know is so unique, and every person doesn't really have the same experience even if we have similar circumstances. So that was just a little bit interesting that I was just thinking about that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, the thought comes to mind with, what you're doing is you're trying to share some successes and some conversation that you would have with the younger self. At the
Yeah.
same time, sharing the suffering. So sharing success and sharing suffering is as equally important to
True.
understanding how to be able to, advance or understand or, just have knowledge and awareness. I think those are really key points that you made.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing a few minutes of your time. I was so thrilled that we were able to have this conversation today. And I'm just so thankful for the time that you've taken today. Is there any last thing you kind of like to throw out there before you wrap it up?
I'm the same. I feel just blessed for you to have considered me to have this conversation. I hope it gives impact to you and the people that watch this for you to be able to make a difference and to use kind of like, knowledge or wisdom or mistakes or whatever you call it to make a change, to make a difference, not only in your life, but in the world around you and the world of others. So you're doing something really amazing.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you again at a later time. And I know we'll stay in touch based upon my parents. And they love you and adore you.
Same. We feel absolutely the same.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, I'll talk to you later. See ya.
Okay, take care.
Bye.